Okay, let's look at section 2. So I'll just let this play, but don't listen to what he says now. Just start reading this.
Section 2. You will hear a manager in a company talking to employees about volunteering for charity work. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16.
So just remember in this 30 seconds, 30 seconds is not a lot of time. Don't fly into a panic and try and read everything. You just don't have the time. I can't read all of this in 30 seconds. I can't even cover all of these in 30 seconds. Rather go for quality over quantity and just focus in on a few of the first ones. Do some highlighting. So I'll just highlight what I can.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Okay, now focus in and read this carefully while there are a few introductory sentences from this guy. How much time for volunteering does the company allow per employee? Of course, there's going to be distractors.
Okay, so this meeting is for new staff and staff who haven't been involved with our volunteering projects yet. So basically, the idea is that we allow staff to give up some of their work time to help on various charity projects to benefit the local community. We've been doing this for the last 5 years, and it's been very successful. Participating doesn't necessarily involve a huge time commitment.
Alright, so everything up until now was just introduction. You could have been reading a bit on this. While you're listening, listen with one ear, read with one eye. This is the important thing to learn to do in IELTS listening, is to read and listen at the same time. So listen with one ear, read with one eye.
The company will pay for 8 hours of your time. That can be used over 1 or 2 days all at once, or spread over several months throughout the year.
So there were the distractors. The company gives you 8 hours, but you can use it all in 1 month or spread out over the whole year. So that means you only get 8 hours per year. Here comes another distractor. He says some people give their own time, but see, he focuses on own.
There are some staff who enjoy volunteering so much, they also give up their own free time for a couple of hours every week.
Their own free time for a couple of hours, 2 hours every week. So that's not the company time. So our answer there was C.
It's completely up to you. Obviously, many people will have family commitments and aren't as available as other members of staff.
That's just blah, blah, blah. We're listening for feedback, and this is very important. Improved. It means what got better, not what did they like.
Feedback from staff has been overwhelmingly positive. Because they felt they were doing something really useful, nearly everyone agreed that volunteering made them feel more motivated at work.
Made them feel more motivated. Their motivation got better. Their motivation improved, so their job satisfaction improved. But these are difficult distractors because he says they also liked.
They also liked building relationships with the people in the local community and felt valued by them.
So they liked building relationships not with colleagues, with local people.
2 people also said it was a good thing to have on their CVs.
Good thing to have on your CV, maybe chances of promotion. That's useful. That's not improved. So you needed to go with the one which got better, which improved.
One particularly successful project last year was the Get Working project.
So there's last year. They helped unemployed people with what?
This was aimed at helping unemployed people in the area get back to work. Our staff were able to help them improve their telephone skills, such as writing down messages and speaking with confidence to potential customers, which they had found quite difficult.
So they helped them improve their telephone skills, which included writing down messages. So it's communication skills. It's not literacy skills. Literacy is how to write. Was just about writing down messages. So that was the distractor for literacy.
This is something many employers look for in job applicants.
So he's just saying it's useful in job applications. So the main thing was about telephone skills. Sorry, let me just highlight this.
And something we all do without even thinking about every day at work.
This year, a new project.
We've got an exciting new project starting this year.
He said new project.
Up until now, we've mainly focused on projects to do with education and training. And we'll continue with our reading project in schools and our work with local charities.
So that he said up until now, we've done these projects and we will continue with this and the school one and the charity, but that's not the new one. What is the new one?
But we've also agreed.
Answer after but.
And our work with local charities. But we've also agreed to help out on a conservation project in Redfern Park.
So, but we've also agreed to help out with a conservation project in the park. Answer came after but there.
So if any of you fancy being outside and getting your hands dirty, this is the project for you.
Where will it be held?
I also wanted to mention the annual Digital Inclusion Day, which is coming up next month. The aim of this is to help older people keep up with technology. And this year, instead of hosting the event in our own training facility,
instead of hosting it at the company's training facility,
we're using the ICT suite at Hill College.
We're using the ICT suite at Hill College. They didn't really say anything about communities.
As it can hold far more people. We've invited over 60 people from the Silver Age Community Center to take part, so we'll need a lot of
There's the community center. They've invited some people from the community center, so there's that distractor.
Volunteers to help with this event. If you're interested in taking part, please go to the volunteering section of our website and complete the relevant form.
Complete the relevant form if you're interested, but there will be distractors.
We won't be providing any training for this.
We won't be. You needed to hear the won't. It's the negative distractor. We won't be providing training.
But you'll be paired with an experienced volunteer if you've never done it before. By the way, don't forget to tell your manager about any volunteering activities you decide to do.
Just tell your manager about anything, and that wasn't about the Digital Inclusion Day. That was just, by the way, any volunteering, just tell your manager. Don't have to get permission from the manager for this day.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20.
All right, so these are often very difficult question types. One thing that's important is you don't want to still be here when he's talking about the 19 and 20. So just focus on the two headings. Which two things are mentioned and which two activities did they describe as useful?
Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
The participants on the Digital Inclusion Day really benefited. The majority were in their 70s, though some were younger.
The majority, it's an important word for IELTS, the majority, it means more than 50% were in their 70s, but some were younger, and this says they were all over 70. So if you hear that, you can draw a line through it immediately.
And a few were even in their 90s. Quite a few owned both a computer and a mobile phone, but these tended to be outdated models.
They owned a mobile phone. They didn't say anything about never used. This is too strong, never. All, never. These words are too strong. It's unlikely it's going to be those. He said the phones were outdated. The computers and the phones were outdated, old-fashioned. Listen again.
Really benefited. The majority were in their 70s, though some were younger, and a few were even in their 90s. Quite a few owned both a computer and a mobile phone, but these tended to be outdated models.
Again, answer after but. These tended to be outdated models, so definitely C. Old-fashioned, outdated. Again, notice the answer after but.
They generally knew how to do simple things like send texts, but weren't aware of recent developments in mobile phone technology. A few were keen to learn, but most were quite dismissive at first.
A few were keen to learn, but most were quite dismissive at first. Dismissive showed little interest at first initially.
They couldn't see the point of updating their skills, but that soon changed.
Right. Now just look at these two answers. If you have to guess, if you didn't hear it and you do have to guess, I just want you to look at that word, and that word. These are very strong words. So if you have to guess, I would say don't go with the strong words. This one, it's a soft word, mostly, more than 50% of the time. Little means not so much. It doesn't mean 100% or 0%. This means 100%. This means 0%. This means 100%. So if you have to guess, go with these softer ones. It's more likely it will be those. Right, we're going to move on to the activities.
Feedback was very positive. The really encouraging thing was that participants all said they felt much more confident about using social media to keep in touch with their grandchildren, who prefer this form of communication to phoning or sending emails.
So they like to keep in touch with their grandchildren. They felt confident about that, so definitely communicating with family.
A lot of them also said playing online games would help them make new friends and keep their brains active.
Also, an important word, they also said the playing online games was going to be useful, help them make friends and keep their brain active. So they gave the two answers straight away and then distractors.
They weren't that impressed with being able to order their groceries online.
They weren't that impressed, so it's the negative distractor. They were not impressed.
As they liked going out to the shops, but some said it would come in handy if they were ill or the weather was really bad. One thing they asked about was using tablets for things like reading newspapers.
So they asked about using tablets. They didn't describe it as useful. They wanted to learn about it.
Some people had been given tablets as presents, but had never used them. So that's something we'll make sure we include this time.
So that's a sort of a future distractor. Great, and that's that. I think, look, these are never going to be easy, but I think the important thing to take, if you take one thing away from this, was to notice that this question was all about the all, never, 0%, more than 50%, 20%, all of these adverbs. That's what they were really testing in this question type, is those adverbs. So again, if you don't hear it and you have to guess, go with the softer ones. Don't go with the hard ones. Great, thank you very much.